All right, back for another live, and hold on, let me get myself situated. Okay, this isn't so bad. Today is this okay? Yes. Today I'm interviewing Farrah June. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. I'm gonna ask her, but yes, she is one of the vendors for Purple Produce, a Heal Thyself Art Jam, and she is going to chat with us today. Hey, Yasmin. All right, let me add her first. Is it working? Accept. Oh, come on. Oh, hi, Farrah.
How are you, Queen? And you did pronounce it correctly. Thank you for checking in anyways.
Yes, good. Okay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I love your fro. It's so beautiful and luscious.
Your braids look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Taking a break. Yeah.
On you on that break. Be a lot. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. First, thank you for coming on here and telling us more about you. I'm really excited that you're going to be a part of the event. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I met you like 2018.
Maybe, yeah. Around there at Haley House. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight and also part of their amazing upcoming event. I'm really excited about it next month. But yeah, we met in like around that time at Haley House, and you were doing your thing on the ones and twos, you know, just being great as usual. And then I think I saw you at like other events after that. Yeah.
Dang, okay, Haley House. I didn't even realize that. Okay, dope.
Yeah.
Cool. So we can just jump right in. Can you start by telling us who you are, where are you from, what do you do? You do a lot of awesome.
Sure. Yes, thank you. Sorry, I'm just putting my volume up, so sorry about the camera stuff. But my name is Farrah June. I am a growing artist and creative. I have my own TV show. I'm in my last season this year, but I've been producing my own TV show on a local access television channel, BNN, for about 8 years. And I'm just starting to get more into visual arts. I'm hoping to launch my website, my art website this summer. And other than that, I just love doing all creative things. I model sometimes. I like collaborating with other artists. Anything artsy, creative, I'm into that. I love to dance for fun. And then I just do other random stuff. But that's mostly about me. And I grew up in Boston.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like growing artists. That resonates for me.
Yeah.
So when did you start creating art? Were you always into art? When did it become more of a formal thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, art was always something that just came natural to me. I feel like I've always loved creating, loved being able to produce something. I love being able to see something that started from nothing become something it blossoms into a butterfly, whatever project I'm working on. So I've always loved to be creative. I wasn't necessarily encouraged, to be an artist at all. I grew up in a Haitian background, and, being a daughter of first generation immigrants, it's we want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, which I understand. They just want you to be financially successful. And unfortunately, being an artist, everybody always says, you're not going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And, it's a starving artist. So that always comes up from, I think, parents, especially if, your parents are immigrants, that they just don't want you to be, struggling. So I wasn't really encouraged to be doing art. But when I was in school, anytime I had a project, I went in, I kind of overdid it. I would really, put my creativity in there somehow, somewhere. And then when I got to college, since I was paying for school by myself, I was like, oh, now I could actually study what I want to do. But every intro to art history program I took was so boring at my school. It was so unfortunate because I really tried. I was I'm going to try to get a degree, but I couldn't stay awake. And I was like, man, if I'm going to be paid for this, I might as well do something that like I could do. And I don't think it's my fault. I feel like whoever's teaching art history, you shouldn't be so bland about it. Like, it's exciting, it's art. Like, monotone just doesn't work for me. But anyways, I still stayed creative. I started doing more work at the local student TV station there. So that's when I fell more in love with like broadcast media and just media studies in general. And then when I graduated, I was trying to get a job in like TV production, but I got so many rejections. And people kept just saying like, yeah, you just need more experience. And I was like, I know, that's why I'm, applying for the job so I can get more experience. But I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to try to take this advice. And I started interning at BNN, Boston neighborhood, the Boston neighborhood television network that's right in Roxbury. And I interned there for about a few months. And then I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to have my own show. Let me just do it. So at first it was like, a way for me to build my portfolio, but I mean, it became my passion project. I've been doing it for 8 years. I love it. I love being able to bring people on the show and put them in the spotlight and really celebrate their greatness. And I feel like when I'm cheering them on and seeing them on stage and they're just like in their element, they're just like super happy, it makes me feel like I'm there with them. Because I feel like, again, since I'm a growing artist, like being around people who are like living their best lives, living their dreams, and pursuing what they want to do makes me be like, yo, I could do that too. Like, I like to be around that energy. So that's what my show is about, is really celebrating people's greatness. And we have artists, we have community leaders, we have, people making a difference, people starting up, all sorts of different people. I've had like over probably 300 guests on my show since then, which has been, it's like wild to me, because I'm like, wow, like that's a lot of people. But it's been really good. And again, I'm in my last season this year. I really tried to, continue producing after the pandemic, but it just got a lot harder and there's a lot more rules and stuff. So I was like, all right, I think it's safe for me to like leave this baby behind, but it doesn't mean I won't be working on new things. So I'm going to be producing like a documentary to kind of talk about what I've learned as a TV producer. But other than that, for my like visual art journey, I know this is a long story, so I'm trying to make it short. My visual art journey. So I just continue doing like, doodles and doing art for me, after like basically all my life. But when I turned 25, it was like my golden birthday, my golden year. I was like, you know what? Like, this is it. Like, if I don't do it now, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I was having like a quarter life crisis. I was like, this year, like when I turn 25, I'm going to start doing everything that I love to do, everything that I always wanted to do, even if it fails. That way I have no regrets, because I really don't want to live with any regrets. So that year, I quit my job. I was like working at I did a lot of random jobs. So I quit a lot of jobs, but good experience. Anyways, I quit that job. I didn't have any backup. And because I did that, I just started meeting like other creatives in the city, and they would tell me about opportunities. And like ever since I was 25, every year has been a great milestone. Like my latest milestone right now is I have a billboard up at the Seaport. It's a digital billboard. I never in my life thought I would have.
Go see it.
Yeah, it's like I never thought in my life I would have my artwork on a billboard. Never. Like, that's not even something that I just wanted to be able to create. And so I feel like when you like, show the universe that you're willing to go after what you want and what you really want to do, and trying to figure out your purpose in life, like they give you more than you thought. Like it's your expectations go out, like you're like, whoa, wow, so I just finished a fellowship this year. It was great to be part of that fellowship. It's the Creative Entrepreneur Fellowship here in Boston. I really recommend it. They're going to start doing applications like later this fall, so I'll send you that information, whoever is interested in learning about like how they could, if you're creative and you want to learn more about the business side of it and how to really put yourself up there, like I would really recommend them. It's free. There's nothing you have to do. And they give you a stipend to, allow you to pursue your creative, opportunities or whatever you want to do. But I just finished that, and I'm just working on trying to have my website hopefully up by the time we do this event next month. So that's a little bio about me.
That's amazing. Wow. Very inspiring. I like how you just share about you didn't let anything stop you, like even from art history. When I was in school, I wanted to pursue visual art like as a double major or something, and
Mm-hmm.
You had to take art history in order to do visual art, which
Same.
that's whack. But
Yeah, it is. I'm like, come on. Like, I would have, if it wasn't for those, like, classes, I would have been got that degree. But, yeah, I feel you.
I think it would be like, part of a visual arts program would be like a business course or entrepreneurs, something like that versus like, not that history isn't important.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I feel like visual arts are slept on. And as an artist,
Yeah.
you have to be like, self-motivated oftentimes. So,
Oh, yeah. Always. You definitely, especially in this world, you definitely have to be self-motivated because a lot of times it's not even like, you won't have support from like your community or you'll have haters. Sometimes the hater is yourself. Like sometimes self-doubt, I mean, it could be yourself. Like self-doubt has paralyzed me in so many instances. I'm really happy I was able to get myself out of it, but like, I feel like sometimes I'd be like, why didn't I just like try that? Like, why was I doubting myself so much? Because look at everything else that I've achieved, like, so I mean, this year is the first year that I haven't allowed self-doubt to cripple me like it has in the past. But I also think it's important for like artists, whatever your level is at, to like document what you've done and like celebrate your small wins, because when you're having that moment of self-doubt, you need to go back to that small win to remember, like, yo, I did that. Oh, and then you'll think about all the challenges that came up with that, and you're like, oh, actually, I can do this. This is not a big deal. I'm just overwhelming myself. So, yeah, I feel you with that.
that's great advice.
Yeah.
What helped you what helps you deal with self-doubt and not let it take over you?
I really, well, self-doubt has just been part of my life every year. But I feel like this year, I think what made it different is me changing my mindset. Like, it's almost like I had to force myself to be allergic to it. I know that's like a weird thing to say, but it was like, this year I was like, nope. Like if I was creating, especially this year, I did a lot more like visual artwork because it was like part of my healing journey. And just art has always been therapeutic for me, but this year especially because I was going like through ups and downs, natural part of life. It just became very like, oh, that's my thing that like calms me down. And there'll be moments, especially when I was part of this, fellowship, I'm like, oh man, like I don't feel as good enough like these other amazing creatives I'm around. Like, you're getting that imposter syndrome and stuff. And I'm like, nah, I got myself here. Like, I'm not allowing self-doubt to come in. Like, it's literally like I've stopped it and like just put it in my mind. Like, I can't. I'm like, that energy don't feel good around me anymore. And it's changed a lot. Like, it really is a big difference this year compared to the other years. So yeah, I think you just have to really change your mindset and then have things around you to like remind you. So if it's like not you documenting your small wins, like I've made a playlist on Spotify. It's called Lion. It has like it's like my personal playlist. I created it when I was 25 and I had that moment. But every year, every time I add music to it, it's like music to uplift me. There's a few ratchet songs in there, but they make my soul happy, So it's just like I have that to like, if I'm having a self-doubt moment to look up to, and I know we're going to talk about hip hop and stuff, a lot of hip hop tracks in that. And then movement, like, working out and all that stuff, like to get that aggression out or get some of that, built up whatever I'm feeling, that emotion out, that kind of helps out. So I feel like just building things that work for you, that, bring you a moment of joy or calmness will kind of allow that self-doubt to kind of go off. And then sometimes you could just talk to yourself, because sometimes it's just your inner child. Like, you're like, yo, what are you scared of? Like, have a conversation with yourself as if, you were talking to someone else that you're trying to uplift. And then you'll start to unpack it, and you're like, oh, okay, this is why you're feeling like this.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's dope. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So tell me about your medium.
Yeah.
Did I disconnect? Sorry.
Yeah. I think it was just like reloaded. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I've been mostly doing like digital illustration, which has been really fun. But this year, well, probably since the pandemic, I've been experimenting more with oil paints. So that's been really fun. Yeah, I like oil painting because I'm a slow painter. So
yes. I love love oils.
Me too. That's really what I love about it, and it's really fun to like blend, and you could just like remake something that you worked on yesterday easily. Like it's very, you can move it around, and yeah, I've been experimenting with that. I'm no pro, again, I'm just a growing artist, but I like this journey that I'm in because I think it's fun to just be in this. Even if sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm like, actually it's good because you're learning so you could be great, you know? So yeah, it's been really fun. And digital illustration, I still love that. I've also like used that to do a little bit of art activism. I used to work doing like safer sex type of education, and I kind of use some of my doodles to like educate the community, like, oh, go get tested, which is a reminder, go get tested. It's the summer. I know you guys are doing summer things. It's exciting. This is great. But yes, please get tested. Encourage your partners to do the same, and yeah, to stay safe out there. But yeah, it's been really fun to kind of use that as a way to educate the community and also celebrate people. Like I worked in the HIV field for a little bit, doing like HIV education, and when I went to conferences, I would meet all these amazing leaders who've been doing, you know, the work since the very beginning, way before we were even here on Earth. And I'm just like so like inspired by like the work they do, and I could tell it's very tiring, it's very emotional, it's a lot of labor. And so I did like I think it was in 2017, I did like 50 portraits of people that I met during the time I was in the conference, and it was like my first like moment in my creative career. I was like, wow, like maybe I could actually do this, because I got so much like love and feedback, and I really didn't expect it, like no lie. I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, that's cute, but it was like the most shares I've ever gotten on anything I've made before. So it was really cool. So I think in this art journey, I'm learning like what I can do with it to make a difference, because I feel like I want my work to be impactful, but also just using art to, like, it can be healing. It's been very healing for me, especially this year. And yeah, and to celebrate people. I especially love to celebrate us. I love to celebrate, you know, Black and brown people. I just really want us to just feel great and feel like loved and celebrated and important.
Absolutely. We deserve it. Absolutely do.
Yes.
So you told us about your art journey. You told us a little bit about Fahrenheit TV, which really dope. And I didn't realize this was going to be your last season. So how many seasons of your show have you had? And will something be coming after under that?
Yeah. So like, I know I'm a little sad. It's like very bittersweet. It took me a while to kind of like, oh man, like I have to let this go, but I'm feeling a lot better about it. But I've done 5 seasons. The first season, and I'll do a documentary about this once I have like the energy to do it. But the first season was more like experimenting, so a lot of like different things I did. Some of them I'm a little embarrassed about, like what was I thinking? But whatever, I was just having fun. Nonetheless, I was still celebrating people. That was really the part of the mission. And then the second and third season, I think that's when I started to more try to focus on it as like a business. I was also like in a entrepreneur class like during that time, and then like the end of the third to the fourth season, I was popping. I was like, wow, like it was great, because it was like the first time people were reaching out to me to be on the show, and that's like, that never happens. That's when you feel like, oh, actually, like, okay, like the community actually likes what I'm doing. Before it was like really hard, and you know, people gave me some shade, like, oh, you know, you don't got enough followers and blah blah blah. I understand that's the type of digital world we live in. But yeah, it was a different feeling during that time to be like people coming to you, and I'm like, oh, let me try to fit you in the schedule. Like it was nuts. And I definitely learned a whole lot doing it. But yeah, after I make the documentary for this season, I'm trying to work on like making like a soap opera, but like on radio, like a radio soap opera. They used to do those like back in the day. So that's an idea I'm trying to do. Just have to like, you know, write the story, get actors, get funding, all that stuff. So that's just an idea, and I'm working on like other few projects that I'll share later on once in the year and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it was time. Like I'm really sad about it, because I miss being on stage, especially during the pandemic. Like I was very proud during the pandemic. I was able to still have people on Zoom and do an episode every month, but it just got harder, and I think people got Zoom fatigued, which I understand. She's like, girl, yeah. So I'm like, okay, like, you know what? It had its moment, and it was great. And I hope in the future I'll be able to, you know, be a host again and produce. I think out of everything I love to do, I love producing. So whether that's like a, you know, something of media or something like visual arts, I love to like make stuff, and like I love the process. The process is like the most exciting part to me. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till we get there. Like, yeah, all that.
Wow, that's dope. I'm so excited to see like what comes next.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Even just hearing like how you've been really persistent and through the challenging moments, like not letting that stop you, just lets me know that you're about to do even more awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that coming from you.
Aw, thank you.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Yeah, like it's, you know, it's when you see other people, your peers, people that are actually from where you're from doing things, it's inspiring. So I'm excited that people will get to know you better through this live, but also through your presence at the event. So
Thank you. Yes, can you tell us more about the event too? I know you're gonna get to that, but I'm like,
you know what? I wasn't. So
oh, you wasn't. Okay, let me shut up. I'm trying to do like my host and producer stuff. Like, tell me more. Like, let me interview you now. I'm gonna be quiet.
You're actually helping me. No, I'll say more. Like, so it's Purple Produce, a Heal Thyself Art Jam. It's all about healing in hip hop. So all of the vendors are Black owned and health related in some capacity. So they sell a certain product or they offer a service. And then we have like hip hop is a key part of the theme. So we have all of the elements represented in some capacity. So I'm going to be DJing, motivating, Red Shades and Xylosoul are performing.
She's so dope.
Right. I'm excited for both of them. Like it's yeah. Even so I'm putting it together, but as like a fan, as a listener, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just wanted to give you your flowers and like, you know, clapping for you, because this is a big deal. Like, you are producing a whole production by yourself in like the heart of Boston for us, by us. I think that's a big deal. And like every time I see you, I know like I can tell you have such a strong love for music. I know especially for hip hop, but like I don't know, I see you as like you're an educator. You're I feel like you have like a lot more that people don't know about yet. So I just want to give you, I mean, I'm going to say a lot of thank yous, but I just want to say like, yo, you're doing a big thing. Like, this is a big deal. Like, you worked really hard on this, got funding and everything. Girl, yes.
The flowers. I really appreciate it. It's been
of course.
You know, a process and a journey. And so seeing like all the support and just even connecting with everyone that's involved or that I'm telling about, friends and family, like it's, you know, like I have community, I have loved ones, and you're right.
Yeah.
Things that like are a part of what I do that people may not know about. So this is step into those roles, step into those abilities, and
yeah. Because you naturally have those leadership skills, like, and I think it's so beautiful that you're doing it yourself, because every time I see you at other events, you're supporting other people, right? You're supporting other creatives, or you know, you're like controlling the vibe in the room and stuff. Everybody's in a good mood because who's the DJ? You are, you know. So I feel like now that you're able to be like the leader, like, you know, you're doing it like. If I'm already in a room and the vibe feels good because I know who the DJ is, I can only imagine how the vibe is going to feel when you're producing the whole event. So it's about to be. Everybody needs to come out. It's free. Come and support.
Oh my gosh, you have me thinking about it so differently now. Like, word.
Yeah.
And this is what I love too. Like, every person that, you know, either I've spoken to them here, some like were offline and I need to post them, but even like in preparation for it, inviting people out, have these conversations, I'm like, oh shit, like it's like a, how do I say it? Just the exchange of energy. Like, I see something and I'm like, oh, I want them to be a part of this, and they're like, oh my god, we love the concept, or we love your gig, like whatever.
Yes.
And I'm like, dang, I feel very like full, and it's
Yeah, and I'm happy that you do, and I'm happy that you're open to receiving that love and and that gratitude and that and all of that, because like I think especially during the pandemic, we had a lot more time to think, some of us, if we were graced with that blessing. It made you realize that like when you're doing your thing, right, when you're doing your thing on stage, off stage, you're just living in your greatness and your purpose. There's other people that are watching that. So like you're making an impact without even realizing it. So like when I told you, if I'm in a room and I feel good because I'm like, yo, the music feels good. I look over, I know who the DJ, like, you know what I mean? Like you already have set the mood, you set the standard. So of course, why wouldn't people want to be part of it?
aw. And it's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned your golden year.
Yeah.
This is my golden year.
Yeah.
So that is like, it's so interesting too, because it's like that's been a driving force.
Mhm.
And like I'm 29, so I'm gonna be 30, and that felt like
Yes. I know. I turned 30 during the pandemic. I was like, what is happening?
big hair. Like I don't feel 30.
You definitely don't look it. You definitely don't look. I thought you were gonna be like, oh, I'm turning 22. I'm like, what? She's 29. Okay, sure. All right. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Good healthcare, self-care routines, which I'm gonna
Hey.
but yeah,
Yeah.
like, there's something, when I turn 29, I'm like, this is my golden year. I have to like make better choices for myself and like go for the things, whatever it is, just go for it. So this
Yes.
and
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy you're living in it and you followed it. You could have ignored it out of fear. You could have ignored it out of fear and comfortability, but you did it.
I didn't. And I encourage anyone who's seeing this to like go for the thing.
Go for it.
Like just do it. It might, even if you mess up. Like I've been reading this book called Big Magic, Creative Here, and everything that you said about your journey, like it shows up in that book. Like I just finished it today.
Oh my God.
She like talks about just even if you're gonna fail. I forget what she said. People ask that question like, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Yeah. That question. Yeah.
She was like, she asked like, what would you do if you knew you would fail? Like, what would you do anyway? And just embracing like failure is like a lesson. It's an opportunity for you to learn. And so just going for whatever it is that you want to do. And then when it's finished or whatever, when that phase is over, like using that as an opportunity to see like, where can you grow? What would you do differently? And then try.
Yeah. So, I like this. I need to get this book, and I'm so happy she reframed that question, because then it really like challenged you as a person. Like, what would you do if you knew you could fail? Like, if you knew you were gonna fail, what would you do anyways? That shows like, I feel like your integrity as a person. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this anyways, and you're like, all right, then let's go. That means you're not like, if you let go of the fear, which is hard, it's a lot easier said than done. But yeah, I'm so happy you're in your golden. Oh my God, I'm like, wow, the universe is so interesting. Sometimes, many decades from now, I want to like interview God and just ask like, how did you come up with all of these storylines? Because a lot of times I'm just like amazed. I'm like, yo, like how? This is so cool.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else and now I'm forgetting. Let me see if it'll come back to me. Oh, with like the fear.
Yeah.
And like that, not letting that stop you. So even with putting this event on, one of the ways I dealt with the fear, and my worry is that it could sound a little self-deprecating, but I want to explain because that's not really what I mean behind it. So I would be like, if let's say nobody comes, that was like one of my biggest fears. No one's gonna show up. No one's gonna come empty, and that from like past situations where like I put something on or I did it with someone else and it like didn't turn out how I wanted it to. The time that I did those things, I was not really willing to see the other lessons. Like, you worked with someone for this extended amount of time and you put these aspects together. This happened and you found a solution. Like I wasn't able to see those things until much later. So one of my fears with Purple Produce was no one's gonna come, or there's gonna be a lag, or all these things, and like I just accepted it. Like, okay, so nobody comes. Let's say no one shows up. Like it's me, the vendors, the performers. That's it. And it's even like embracing it sounds silly as fuck because I'm like, it's outside. Like get foot traffic. So I feel like embracing the fear, facing it, being like, okay, what's the fear, can kind of help you see like, well, okay, like
Mhm.
find reasons as to why that may not happen, but also let's really say nobody showed up.
Mhm.
Here are some of the things that would still be of value that I could take from it. One, all of these people that did come as vendors and performers now know each other if they didn't before. I now
Yes.
experience of putting together an event. I now have the
Mhm.
experience of applying for a grant and learning how to budget and maintain a budget.
Yes. Yes, queen. Yes.
There's so much you can take. So I feel like any situation that like did not work out how you wanted it to, there's
Mhm.
something you can extract from it that was meant for you to learn. Like you didn't go
Exactly.
like feel like shit. You went through it because there was something for you to learn that is
Mhm.
help you in another season or another moment. Like you'll have an opportunity to practice again. So
Yes. I didn't know this is the TED Talk I needed. I'm like, hell yeah. This is everything you said. I'm like 100, like, I was looking for the buttons on my phone to be like, yes, love, love, love. But like everything you said. And I think also every time I've looked back at moments where I'm like, oh, that failed or whatever, it's like, I still did it anyways. Like you said, there was something for us to learn during that moment. And you still have to give yourself grace. Like, give yourself grace that, like, you are learning. Like, nobody's perfect. Like, all the people we look up to, they also had to, start from the bottom to get to where they're at. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that they failed at that we don't know nothing about. So I think it's just dope if you tried anyways. I really love that courage. Like I'm like inspired by that. Like just do it anyways. And then okay, so nobody shows up. We, like you said, all the other things that happen, but I don't think that would be the case.
right,
But
like it's literally like an old fear. It's stale.
yeah.
And just going through the motions, like, and doing everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. Like, all right, tell people about it. Make flyers. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yes. And, like, it's going to be ill. Like, all the performers are
Hell
great.
yeah.
Like, Meredith's a great DJ. Lady Ice is amazing. Like, everybody's talented. So,
Lady Ice is an amazing performer. Giving her a
yeah,
lot of flowers.
she's a visual artist. Like, I feel like she embodies hip hop energy.
Yes.
She dances. She
does it all. She was on my show too. I was just like, I was behind the camera like, just keep rolling. Like, yep, it's all right. Just keep going. She's great. Like, yeah. I mean, it's like, gonna be great.
Thing.
Yo! Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean,
bring it.
I really love that, especially in Boston. I know Boston's not really known as a city known for the arts. I don't think people really know it's for the arts, but there's a lot of dope creatives that live here.
Yeah.
We're out here, and a lot of them is like, some of them are not even on social media. They're just still doing their things throughout the community and stuff. But like, there's so many amazing creatives in this city. Like, I mean, wow. I'm honored that I'm a part of this, and that you basically are building this platform for us to shine with you. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and I'm very proud of you, especially in this golden year and all the things you just said. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I feel like I'm going to hear this speech again in like 10 years when you're getting some award for something. I don't know. But this is just the beginning. Just know that. This is just the beginning. So be prepared to do this TED Talk again, because people are going to want to learn from you. No, like, real ass. I said real ass. Like, in all sincerity, like, someone's going to want to learn from this, like, down the line. It don't have to be 10 years. It could be literally next month, so.
No, and the feeling is mutual. And that's, like,
thank you.
The whole point of the event, too, of, like, we're here. So not only with the arts, but, like, wherever you're at in your own healing journey, physically, emotionally, mentally, like, there's someone in the city who looks like you, who's up there, that can support you along the journey.
Yes.
Even if they're not there, like, one thing I'm going to do is put together, like, a resource list, and everyone that is involved in the event will be on it. And then everybody who, like, for instance, like, there's essential body herbs, there's naturals, there's Dr. A of Raw Healing and Matter Healing. Like, these are sources where you can
go. Local.
Yes. By Black people, good energy. Like, you could trust it. So I want to put that together and have it live on Instagram and so that we just be like, okay, I need to get some herbs. Let me go down to body herbs for it.
Exactly, and we could share it as well. And I'm loving that you put healing as part of this event too, because I feel like, I don't know if this has happened to you, but a lot of people, like, in my circle, or people I know, or even people I don't know, but I might like follow them on like Instagram or something. I feel like a lot of people are going through like a healing journey, like a transformation. You know, there's a lot of things happening. So I feel like the arts, I know for me, has always been therapeutic and has allowed me to like heal and, you know, soothe me. So I feel like this is a really dope event because it allows people to see all forms of art and all forms of like therapeutic practices that could, you know, bring you some joy and some love, some comfort. And especially, you know, for like people of color, it's really hard for us to talk about these things sometimes because of stigma and, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on. So I think it's dope that you're building this safe space. And music, I feel like I've never heard anyone say they don't love music. So I think it's going to be a really dope event.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
And, you know, what you can't talk about there, like you said about art being therapeutic, there are other ways to kind of get that energy experience out of you.
Yep.
Feel safe. So I'm excited for people to like connect with one another and try
Yeah.
care. So speaking of like healing and health and care, like so 2 questions. What does self-love look like for you? And then what does self-care look like for you? You can share however you like. If it's one thing for each or experience.
That's really great questions. I feel like this year, especially now that I'm in my 30s, 31, I feel like self-love for me is really listening to my intuition more, like really I just got tested on it yesterday where I was like, my intuition was telling me something and I was like, maybe I'm just overreacting. And I wasn't 1,000,000% right. Like I was like, I need to just honor, like, you know, when my gut is telling me something's off or something is, you know, not right, or just listening to it more because it's always right. And so I think self-love is like honoring my inner voice and listening to my intuition, also honoring my truth, you know, not being afraid. I think a big lesson I'm learning now is just like a lot of times I was afraid or nervous to come out to like tell my truth about something because I was more attentive to other people's feelings and I was, you know, disregarding my voice. So I feel like that's been something that's like giving me self-love to just like, you know, honor my truth. And self-love for me too is also giving myself grace because I feel like we're all learning, right? We're all learning. I think it's dope when you're able to change, you know, like, oh, I used to do this, but now I know that it's not good, so I'm changing to this. Like I love to see the effort, you know, because at least you're trying, and that's all we could do. Nobody's perfect. And in self-care, I feel like I do self-care all the time. Self-care for me is definitely music, so I love to dance. Self-care also looks like naps a lot more. I didn't know how tired I was until the pandemic happened, and then I was like, wow, I was doing too much, and like I was doing a lot. Like when I was like producing, especially, like I'll be working my full-time job, go produce, go home, edit at night, don't get a lot of sleep, do the same thing over the next day, go to like my second job. Like I was doing too much, and like the pandemic I was grateful for because I finally got to rest, and I was like, man, I didn't know I was this tired. So self-care nowadays, if I could sneak in a nap or sleep in a little bit more, that's awesome. Art, always self-care. Art is always therapeutic. And also eating a good meal. Like, you know, you ever ate like a really good meal and you're like, man, life is not that hard. Like, I'll be fine. Like,
I had a great meal with my mom.
Yes, you did. What did you eat?
Together, we made oyster mushrooms.
Oh.
They're so
Are you vegan? Are you vegan?
I don't claim vegan,
but you like it, yeah.
I haven't eaten like red meat and pork since 2008, but then
that's awesome.
It's been a process. I did a fast, like 45 days for spring.
Wow.
Yeah. Then after that, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna go back I'm not supposed to have dairy anyway, so I'm like, no dairy, and no chicken or turkey, and I still let myself have fish, but that'll be the next thing to let go of. So oysters are like a great, whenever I want to, like, you know, because even though fried foods are not good for you, I crave it, and then like if I want to satisfy that craving, fried oyster mushrooms are like the best. Like it gives me what I need when I want fried fish. And
I need to try it. It looks really, I mean, I was a vegan for like 9 months I was really proud of myself, but then it got a little hard because I started working overnights and I was like, oh, I don't feel like, I just need something like fatty. But I eat mostly fish now. But anyways, I was going to say that all the vegan people I follow, like, you know, Queen Tabitha Brown or like all these other amazing like vegan cooks, they always were cooking oyster mushrooms. I just didn't know where to get them, but they look good. Like, they look like chicken. Like, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, go to Stop and Shop. They're there.
Okay. I need to go.
They're really good. Like, it's good. And I was gonna say too, it's a process to integrate that. Like, so
Yeah.
9 months is an accomplishment. Like, that's
Oh, thanks. I was really happy.
that's
Just
amazing.
like, it was only 2 things.
9 months.
Oh, thanks. It was only 2 things that I just kept eating that weren't vegan. Like, I just kept eating pepperoni pizza and salmon because I was just like, they just taste so good. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I still buy vegan stuff and I mostly eat more veggies, but like, I just love my fish. I love salmon and I love pepperoni pizza. I mean, I'm lactose intolerant, so I do use vegan cheese, but still, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm here. Let me live. So
Yeah.
I'm trying. I hope to get to your level though. You said since 2008. I'm like, oh my God.
But I was still eating the red meat and the pork was too
Yeah.
much. So
I don't eat that much. I don't eat red meat or pork that much either. Okay, I had like 2 burgers this year, but that's it though. That's it.
We're all please.
Yeah, we're doing the best we can. That's awesome. I'm gonna try some oyster mushrooms. But yeah, that's part of my self-love and self-care. How about you? What is your self-love and self-care?
Let's see. So many things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, self-love has been getting in my own ass a little bit. Like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing that in a loving way.
Yeah.
Like, being mindful of my internal dialogue and how I talk to myself, but when I know I'm out of pocket or I'm doing something that is not the best for me, like owning that and be like, no. Like,
I love that. Accountability. That's so important.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Being more mindful of my mood. That's what food helped me with too, of like, okay.
Yeah, me too.
I eat certain things, or when I'm like feeling really down, I might try to like I'll turn to food. So
Me too.
About it. Yeah, I'm like, okay,
me too.
I have a particular craving for this reason. Like Dr. Africa, he has a book called Holistic.
I need to get that.
And he breaks down like what each craving means. So just learning, that's one way that I think I've practiced self-love, is learning about the things that I find challenging about myself. And then, loving myself anyway. Like,
yes, I love that you're doing the shadow work and you're still giving yourself grace through it all. That's important to do the grace part, because if you start to see all the shadow things, you're like, oh, then you're gonna think of yourself in such a negative light. You know what I mean? Giving yourself grace, like, okay, I see it, and now I know how to change it, or if you know what I mean, like, you know how to better yourself.
Exactly. If I find something, or I've identified the issue, now I can. That's the first step.
Yeah.
To create like a solution or find one. So
yeah,
like shadow work and, you know, knowing that like I'm a whole person and my great qualities don't go away because I'm working on these things. And so yeah, I would say that for self-love. And being like talking, when you were talking about the inner child stuff, like being mindful of how I speak to myself when I'm having a hard moment. And
yes.
As if
I
was
God.
a little baby or a little kid, like, it's okay. You know how you're like, it's okay, I know.
Yeah, because when you look at little you're like, oh, like, I would never want to hurt her. You're like, all right, I'm doing too much. Let me just take it down. Yeah, that's beautiful.
And then self-care, I would say those things are a part of self-care. But I really I started getting facials in December, and
no wonder you're so young. I'm like 29. Where? What you mean?
Yeah, food and facials have been helpful. Water, drinking coconut water. Like I think I had like Vita Coco some years ago, and I'm like, this is disgusting. But then I had coconut.
Real coconut water is the best. I used to feel the same way until I had real coconut water. I was like, actually, this is like really tasty, but I don't really like the canned stuff because it kind of tastes like the can. But the real coconut is good.
So like drink that. I like to soak my feet, like doing my hair. Sometimes it's like the stuff that I need to do on a routine.
Yeah.
Mindful of like, all right, it's been a week. Notice like just paying attention. Oh, my scalp's looking like this. All right, I know I need
Yeah.
And I would say too, like checking in with my family and friends. So,
Oh, that's
but
so
like,
nice.
yeah, me and my mom are really close. So I would say
Yeah.
that is self-care for me because community is important to me. Like our people are a communal people. So,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, I might be doing things or get busy with work or, you know, whatever the case may be, like just making time to check in with my loved ones. And
I love that, because who you surround yourself with, you're gonna you intake their energy as well. So it's like it's good to like check in on each other. I think that's beautiful.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So okay, one book and one song or two, whatever. A book and a song that inspire you, mean a lot to you, are your favorite, or are they were a part of your growing experience, and professionally, whatever.
Well, I'm reading a lot of like healing books. A lot of them. I mean, one of them is like by a poet. I feel like people have probably seen his quotes. Is by Young Pablo. He has like a lot of different like deep quotes. But I'm reading one of his books right now, which is like, I don't know. I feel like every time I read it, it always comes at the right time. I don't read it every day, but like when my my gut would be like, oh, you should just pick up that book, and I'll read like one of his passages, a few of them, and I'm like, wow, they really resonate with my life right now. So it's really interesting how the universe just knows. There's a couple other books that I'm reading. I'm reading All About Love by I'm looking at them right now, so I'm looking over there. But like All About Love by Bell Hooks, which is kind of like it's deep. Like when you read it, you have to really take it in. Like, yo, wow, I never thought about love like this before. So yeah, those books have been good. I probably one of my favorite books would be The Alchemist. Although I think I need to I never really physically read the book. I have the audiobook. I love audiobooks a lot. But at first I didn't really like the ending. I don't know if I'm the only person in the world, but I didn't really like the ending.
What didn't you like about it? I read it this year. What didn't you like?
I don't know. I felt like a little disappointed. I thought there was going to be so much more that happened at the end. And then I think I need to just re-listen to it, because maybe during that time when I was listening to it, I was just trying to finish it. And I don't think I was really in a good space. So maybe I was trying to bring my own life into what he was experiencing, So I feel but I loved it until it got to the end. And I was like, that's it. I thought it was good, So I think I need to re-listen to that, because I just wasn't in the best space. But music-wise, I mean, so many songs.
Before you go into music, because I know, there's talk about when I just wanted to say about those two. First of all, two very good books. I didn't finish All About Love yet, but I started reading that sometime, maybe December, last winter.
That's when I got it. Yeah, around that time too.
I love her definition of love, though. I don't know word for word, but it was basically when you love someone, you're basically invested in their growth spiritually.
Yes, you're connected.
Yeah, I really had to reflect on how I choose to love myself and my people in my life, and honoring where they may be in their journey and supporting them and growing spiritually. I'm gonna find the proper what she said and maybe but
I think you summarized it pretty well though, because I feel and I think the reason why I haven't finished that book is because I was like, you know what? I need to do some more inner child work and learn about my attachment style, because this was a lot for me to just take in. I know it probably didn't seem a lot, but I was like, wow, I never really thought about all of these different, facets of what love could mean. So, yeah.
Shout out to Body Party. They are in the live. They're going to be butters and all kinds of goodies. So anyway.
Yay! I can't wait to get some.
What about music?
Oh, man. I love music a lot. I mean, my favorite song, I would say it's one of my favorite songs in the world is Human Nature by Michael Jackson, just because it always calms me down. Anytime I'm I don't know, just feeling, us Scorpios, our emotions are always So yeah, that always calms me down. But like this year, I mean, I think I've been listening to a lot of Diggable Planets. Like I really love like old school hip hop, especially like storytellers. I really love storytellers in hip hop. So anyone that like, you know, is telling me something deep that I'm like, it doesn't have to be like literally like, you know, socially conscious, although I do love that type of content. But they're just telling me about a story of something, like Nas or someone just telling me a story about how his life or something. I'm like, I'm really into it. Like I just tune out and I just start to like visualize the movie of whatever they're telling me. So I really love like old school hip hop artists who like, you know, are really good at storytelling. Obviously I love the bops too, you know.
Yeah.
But I've been listening to a lot of like Diggable Planets. What was I listening to? Nas. I've been listening to some artists from like London and stuff, like Little Sims. She's also like a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
I really like her. Who else have I been listening to? Thames. Who else? I mean, I know people are not that crazy about Drake's new album, but I think it's so fun to Vogue too. I can't wait till Beyonce's album this month. And who else? I also listen to a lot of 80s music. I like soft rock. I listen to a lot of random stuff.
My grandma loves Magic 106.7.
I used to work there. Yeah, I worked there for like 6 years. Yeah, I was just doing like street team stuff, like, you know, promotions and stuff. But I used to listen to them all the time as a kid, and then I worked there for 6 years. They were great. It was a really cool environment. But yeah, so I love that type of music. I love, you know what? This is probably embarrassing, but I watched the Dance Hall Queen movie again recently. I don't know if you ever
saw that. You
should. I mean, it's entertaining, and it's basically about a story of this, you know, this woman that like lives in the hood in Jamaica, and she aspires to be a dance hall queen, like, you know, really doing her thing. And it follows her journey as she becomes, you know, a dance hall queen, while, you know, all the other things that's happened in her life, like violence and craziness. But it's really entertaining, and obviously all the patois is amazing. The dancing is amazing. But I recently watched that and like was inspired to become a dance hall queen. So I've just been
jump in real quick.
Yes, go ahead.
You can make your dreams come true, girl. Let me tell you. So, hold on, my brain. Soulfire Movement, Michelle of Soulfire Movement is doing a workshop at 12:30 at Purple Produce, a Heal Thyself Art Jam. She's doing a fitness session, and she was a dance hall queen, is a dance hall queen.
Oh my God.
2007, 2008. I still need to post. We did an interview. It's on her page, so you can follow.
Okay.
And you'll see it and all her other amazing content. But I'm gonna post it on here.
Yes.
But
please.
She won Dance Hall Queen. Like, I think she said either 2007 or 2008. I think she might have won twice. I don't know. But we literally have a Dance Hall Queen
in our community. And that's gonna be with us on August 6th.
Doing a dance class to start the whole event off. So if you're seeing this, come through, wear something comfortable. The library will still be open, so if you want to come comfortable and then change after the class, you have the option to do that. And it's amazing. Like, her class is ill, and
wow,
you get a chance to like sweat and turn up and feel good and dance, and then you also get to like zen out and vibe and get into your energy. Wow, it's gonna be awesome. So, Farrah, the dance hall goals, they can be, you know, accomplished and manifested. So come through.
Wow. God bless your soul, and God bless her soul, because I am so happy. Now I thought of other things. I'm like, I got to come in, you know, in like leggings before I go to my booth.
Yes.
So I could really, you know, be in tune and live out my dance hall queen, you know, dreams. Wow. I'm so excited. And I'm excited too for the community. This is free. They get to come out and, you know, do their thing, and dancing is just like, I mean, it's its own form of like therapy. But yeah, wow. But anyways, yeah, so I've been listening to a lot of random music, but yeah, I love storytelling. I love good beats. I love I just love all of that. I just love anything that's a good vibe, and I have like different playlists for, you know, certain vibes that I like. I even have a playlist for like when I'm roller skating and stuff. Like, yeah, a lot of different stuff. Yeah, I'm not the best. I'm learning still. You know, I'm growing in every way. But yeah, it's great.
So
Yeah.
speaking of skating, I don't know if I should say this now. Well, I think it's okay. There may be a skating opportunity at Purple Produce.
Okay.
I'm
Yay!
connected with like a skateboard crew that's local. They were at the like open street event yesterday,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, I need to reach out to them formally so that I can make sure they have everything they need. But I'm hoping that
Yeah.
so skating, yes, I like. We should go to Shea Boo one day. But
Let's do it. I want to go to Chez Vu's because now they're teaching classes. You know, shout out to Chez Vu's. Yeah, they've really upgraded, girl. They've really upgraded. I'm so happy for them. You know, like they're teaching classes. I've been seeing them at events. They were at an event last month for the reveal of the new mural at Greenway that Pro Black and Go Five and all of them made. But yeah, they've been shout out to them. They've been doing a lot of great stuff. So I am so down to go to Chez Vu's with you any day, anytime. Yeah.
Also, for those that are seeing this now or later, follow Farrah on
Yes.
at Fahrenheit TV.
Yes.
Studio
Jen. Yep.
and,
Studiojeuneart. Yes.
and Forever Jen 77, right?
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you. Wow, you're good at pronouncing. Thank you too for saying it.
Get it right. But I was gonna say, you actually on Fahrenheit TV, you have like a video where you're showing the progress of the mural.
Yeah. I went there. I visited for like a 3-day period. I was like going in and out just to like see like the progression of the mural. It's so beyond, it's breathtaking. You have to see it in person, but it really makes you, I mean, it's a big deal because it's historic, because it's the first time that a like local artist of color and a local artist in general has been commissioned for this. No, I didn't know this before. I was like, oh, like all the other artists on the Greenway have been like national artists and stuff, and none of them of color. So this is a big deal, and I feel like they made us proud. Like when you see that girl, yes, like when you see it, you're like, yo, like you feel seen. Listen.
Like, okay, we're talking about hip hop and storytelling. Everyone needs to go listen to Only Built for Cuban Links.
Yes. Yes.
And shout out to Motivate Marin, because he pointed out that the station is on WILD. Like,
yes.
I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah, they like every detail was well thought out. Like everything is intentional in that, you know, and it's beautiful because it's a portrait of his daughter, Pro Black's daughter. Shout out to him. But like everybody in the G and crew had like they had they were part of like building the whole thing together. So it's just like, I love to see that too. Like I love seeing like a crew of, creatives come together and create masterpiece together. Like there's no egos involved. It's like, yo, we're all working on, this is ours. Like, it's not just like, oh, this is about us. It's not even about them too. They made it clear it's about the community. They made it for us, so I love seeing that. Like, I'm just like, oh, like, I don't know, it makes me think of like the cartoons I used to watch back in the day when like a group of friends, they would have like a problem, like Hey Arnold or something, like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And they all come together and they all figure it out. Like, I love that. I really love that. I just love seeing that type of like energy where there's, it's the mission is bigger than anybody's egos,
Yes, and it was genuine. And when I went to the event, like where they, presented and everything, it was just love. Like, everyone there, I seen people that I knew.
Yes, me too. Like, it was like a reunion. I was like, wow.
The artists were chill. Like Go Five, I met him there, and
shout out to him.
So I'm like, they're like, oh, go see him or whatever. So I went. They're like, I went to the tent, and I'm like, and then someone was like, oh, I think he has them. So he like finished talking, and I'm like, oh, can I get a print? And he was like, I forget what he yeah, like he like made up a fake price or whatever, and I'm like, for real? And he was like, it's free. But I was at least expecting, I was ready to pay something for it.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Take them, like and I was like, yo, and then we started talking and stuff. I had my jacket that Lady Ice made me. Shout out to Lady Ice.
Yes, yeah, I didn't know she made a Piro too. Wow, you did say that earlier. I need to get something like that.
Listen, book her.
Yeah,
like, wow, like. The piece about just being like, it not being about ego, but like about actual community, about love. that
Mhm.
was felt. And I think that's very
Yes.
important coming from men, especially. Like, I was like, wow, this is dope. Like,
Yeah, I love, and like shout out to Hinato. So some funny fact about Hinato is we grew up in the same neighborhood, so I was like really good friends with his niece when we were younger. So it was like for me it was so amazing to see him up there because I've looked up to him as an artist like since I was little. Like he's been doing dope stuff like forever, you know what I mean? And I told him too, I was like, I feel like next time it's gonna be hard for me to see you. You're gonna be on tour. Like y'all about to go on tour. Y'all about to blow up. This is just the beginning, like, you know. But it just really it's also dope to see people you look up to in your community be able to have those grand opportunities because
yeah.
you're like, oh, they're opening the door for other people to like step behind them and also follow in their footsteps and do, you know, bigger things. So I think it's so cool. And I'm so happy you got the same vibes because that's how I felt that day. Like I
Yeah.
just felt like
I almost
such a
did
good
go.
day.
I almost
My
did go
God,
because
I'm happy you did.
me too. I had like, why didn't I had a gig. I was DJing for Red Shades, and then
Yes.
like some stuff with family stuff. It was very challenging, and I was like tired, but I'm like, no, I want to go. Like, I'm just gonna go, whatever. And I went, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I just felt so much better. Like, it's one of
Yes.
those, and I feel like that goes back to what we were talking about: creativity, going for things, even if they're challenging. It's little
Mhm.
moments like that where you're like, nah, I'm not gonna let, you know, a family challenge or being tired. Like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
keep having the day. I had a really great set with Shade, so I'm like,
Yeah.
keep that momentum going. Give space for the challenging feelings or
Of
moments,
course. Honor it.
knowing that there's something else for that. You
Mhm.
know, like for the rest
Yeah.
of the day or that moment or your life period. So like going for it and
Yeah.
be presently surprised. So
I'm
that
so
was
happy you did. I'm really happy that you know, you followed your gut and you came because it was definitely a great moment, a great day.
it was the last hour too, and it was still like popular. Like it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I was like no, lively. Like even when I
Yeah.
left, it was still like flow. It was just really awesome. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's
like
going to be many more opportunities. I feel like it's going to be the same flow with, you know, the August 6th events. I feel like, you know, even when the time ends, people are not going to just leave and go home because the vibe is still there.
we
I feel it.
like the library will be closing at 2, which is why I was
Yeah.
like, if you're coming for like the class, you'll have time to like change or freshen up whatever if you you took the class. But the library closes at 2. We'll still be going till 5, and then
Okay.
we can just chill. Like we can really
Yeah.
chill out there. Out things will be breaking down after 5, going into 6. But it's an open space, so we can literally just
Yeah.
see and
And, you
get.
know,
Makes me very happy to have that.
me
Like,
too. And it'll be a nice day. It's the first weekend of August, so people should definitely come out and support. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you could just feel it, like I'm manifesting it, but I'm also being like, it's just gonna be a good vibe. I'm not worried at all. Like I'm just excited to be around all those creatives and be around that energy. I feel like that's so healing and so needed. So thank you again for this opportunity. Like I'm so
oh,
happy and proud of you. And like I can't wait to see what when year 30 comes later on this year, like how you gonna feel. Like you're gonna be like, yo, I lived the last year of my 20s in the best way possible because
yes,
you know what I mean. Like I hope you honor that. I think I'll remind you on October 29th. I'll remind you like, yo, you should honor this.
you're amazing. Like you have,
Yes.
which I already knew, but after this conversation, I'm like, oh my god, you should be like a motivational speaker.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously,
Yeah, I'm not
seriously.
good at like TED talking like you are, but one on one,
Oh,
I'm
you
like, yo, I
this.
feel that energy.
No, you're good.
Oh, thank you, Queen. Thank you. Fellow Scorpio to fellow Scorpio. We got this. Yes.
We're here with it.
Yes, we're here.
Get deep with things. We can come right back up.
Exactly. That's Phoenix rising, baby.
Yes,
I love it.
yes. Exactly. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I have. This was so much more than I could
Yeah,
have
this was
imagined.
a great, like, I'm so happy you did this because I was, like, not having an off day, but I just was kind of like a blah day. Like, I was like, well, I should be doing this, but I don't really feel like it. And sometimes I feel guilty about that where I'm like, oh, I have a day to be productive, but I'm not being productive. But I think this is what I needed. I needed this energy, this talk. And now I feel like, all right, now I'm about to get started to doing this, so thank you
Yes.
for giving me that.
Thank you. You were dropping gems. Like I'm telling you.
You are too,
And I'm
Queen.
thankful I can I'm definitely, so you showed me how I can download it, so I'm gonna do that
Mhm.
to like post on YouTube and other things, but this will exist beyond this moment. And we'll
Yay!
definitely be revisiting it like on them days
Yes, on
when we
those
were out,
days.
we were scorpions. So, but yeah,
Yes. Thank you,
I will see
Queen.
you August 6th. Was there
Yep.
anything else that you wanted to share or like?
No, only that, just to give you your flowers again, because I'm really happy that you're doing this event, and just to tell people to please come out and support all of us artists. I'll be out there with a few of my paintings that I worked throughout this year as a part of my new collection, so I'm excited about that. But also just to please share this event with your family and your friends, your peers. We can definitely use the support. And just stop by, or even if you can't stop by, share it so other people can stop by and support
Right.
artists and come for a good vibe. And if you can't, it's totally fine. I hope everybody has a peaceful summer, man. There's so many things going on in the world. I just, I'm sending peace to everybody. Like, please have a peaceful summer.
Shay, Shay. Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go, Farrah. Thank you
Alrighty, Queen.
again. I'm so excited for the 6th,
Me
and
too.
I hope we can talk before then. But
We definitely will. We definitely will. But all right, Queen. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing night, and I will see you soon.
yes,
All
peace.
right. Bye, Roy.
Bye, y'all.